Have you ever met someone who just can't be controlled? Someone who seems to walk through life on their own terms, untouched by outside opinions, unshaken by manipulation, always one step ahead? If you have, chances are you've met a Scorpio. But here's a shocking truth: it's not just about personality. It's much deeper. Scorpios are wired differently. Psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. What makes them impossible to control isn't just their fierce attitude, it's their inner architecture. Their emotional survival mechanisms. Their deep understanding of human nature. Often without even realizing it. Today, we're going to explore the real reasons why no one, and I mean no one, can control a Scorpio. This video will take you far beyond simple zodiac descriptions. We're diving into psychology, astrology, and the raw emotional power that shapes Scorpio's mysterious soul. And trust me, by the end of this video, you won't just understand Scorpios better, you might start to understand yourself in a whole new way. So if you're ready to dive deep, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you're curious about what's coming next. And share it with someone who needs to hear this. Are you ready? Let's begin. Let's start with something most people misunderstand about Scorpios. People often say Scorpio is rebellious, that they hate being told what to do. But in truth, it's much deeper than rebellion. Scorpio's independence is not just about rejecting control, it's about protecting their very identity. You see, for a Scorpio, being told how to live, what to feel, or who to become, feels like someone is trying to rewrite their soul. Their autonomy isn't just a preference. It's survival. It's how they define who they are in a world that often demands conformity. Think of that friend who quietly refuses to follow trends. Not because they're stubborn, but because they know, deep inside, that following someone else's path would mean betraying themselves. That's Scorpio energy. And this isn't something they choose. It's instinctive. From childhood, Scorpios feel different. They crave space to think, to feel, to figure life out on their own terms. And when people try to control them, their subconscious says no. Not today. Not ever. It's their psychological defense. A boundary built not from pride, but from self-preservation. But where does that strength come from? It's not just natural confidence. It's forged. Scorpio's inner strength is the result of battles you may never see. Moments of emotional pain they'll never speak of. Times they felt abandoned, misunderstood, or betrayed, and yet stood back up. Stronger than before. Scorpios carry their scars like invisible armor. Not because they're cold, but because they've learned the hard way that the world isn't always safe. And so, their strength isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, unshakable. Think about someone you know who has survived difficult times, yet they smile, they help others, and they seem grounded in a way you can't quite explain. That's Scorpio strength. They don't just survive life's storms. They transform because of them. Psychologists might call this post-traumatic growth. Astrologers call it the phoenix rising from its ashes. Scorpios? They just call it life. Now, let's talk about something fascinating. Their intuition. If you've ever wondered why Scorpios sense when something's wrong, why they look at someone and just know the truth, here's why. Scorpio's intuition is not magic. It's emotional pattern recognition. Subconsciously, they pick up micro-expressions, body language, tone changes, things most people ignore. Their mind connects the dots before they even realize it. It's like having emotional radar. Ever had a Scorpio friend warn you about someone, and months later, you realized they were right? That's not coincidence. It's their survival instinct working silently in the background. And here's the kicker, they trust it. Because time and experience have shown them, their gut feeling rarely lies. This intuition protects them from manipulation. From toxic people. From walking into emotional traps. It's how they defend their inner world. Not through walls, but through awareness. But Scorpios aren't just protective. They're selective. Their loyalty is something you earn. Not something you get for free. They believe in deep connections, yes, but only with those who respect their freedom. For a Scorpio, loyalty without freedom is a cage. They refuse to trade their independence for emotional safety. Relationships, to them, are partnerships. Spaces of growth. Not contracts of control. Maybe you've seen this in your life. That Scorpio friend who loves fiercely, but the moment loyalty turns into demands, they pull back. It's not rejection. It's self-respect. They believe loyalty should empower, not restrict. And if someone tries to use love as a leash, Scorpio cuts the cord. But there's beauty in this philosophy. Because when a Scorpio chooses you, it's real. It's not out of obligation. It's because their soul recognizes yours. Their loyalty, once given, is deep, protective, unbreakable. But it's always conditional on one simple truth: respect my freedom. And I'll walk beside you through anything. These 4 insights are the foundation of why Scorpios cannot be controlled. Their need for independence is not surface level. It's built into their emotional DNA. Their strength is the result of surviving storms others never even see. Their intuition is their early warning system. And their loyalty? It's their deepest gift, but only if you understand the value of giving them space to breathe. And maybe, just maybe, that's a lesson we can all learn. Sometimes, protecting your freedom, trusting your instincts, and knowing when to walk your own path isn't selfish. It's survival. And it's the only way to truly honor who you are. There's something about Scorpios that people often misunderstand. It's their silence. Their mystery. Their ability to keep their thoughts. Their emotions locked away from the world. But what most people don't realize, this isn't about playing games. It's not about hiding for the sake of power. It's about protection. Deep protection. Imagine growing up in a world where showing too much of yourself led to judgment, betrayal, or pain. Over time, Scorpios learn that silence isn't weakness. It's strength. By keeping their emotions private, they control their narrative. They decide who sees their soul, and when. That mystery you feel around a Scorpio? It's their way of saying, I choose who enters my world. And that's not all. Scorpios are what astrologers call a fixed sign. And this isn't just a zodiac label. It shapes their mind. Once they decide something, once they commit to a belief, a decision, a goal, it's like carving it in stone. People think Scorpios are stubborn. But what's behind that? It's their psychological need for stability in a world that feels emotionally chaotic. Fixing their mind on something gives them ground to stand on. It keeps them centered. Think of that person who never changes their opinion just to fit in. Who stays loyal to their path. Even when others laugh. That's not pride. It's survival. Scorpios trust their own decisions because they know how much thought, how much soul-searching, goes into making them. Changing their mind too easily? That would feel like betraying themselves. And that's something a Scorpio simply cannot do. But maybe one of the most impressive things about Scorpios is their self-control. Imagine standing in a storm, feeling the wind tear at your face, but never letting anyone see you tremble. That's what Scorpios do. Internally, they might be in chaos. But outwardly? Calm. Collected. In control. And here's the truth, it's not that they don't feel emotions. They feel deeply. More than most. But they've trained themselves not to let those emotions rule their actions. Self-control is their silent strength. It protects them. In relationships. In arguments. in life's hardest moments. They don't lash out easily. They don't crumble in front of you. They process their emotions privately, in their own way. And this makes them nearly impossible to manipulate. You can't push their buttons if they don't show you where those buttons are. It's a powerful lesson for all of us. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means choosing when and how to express them on your terms, not someone else's. Now, what happens when a Scorpio realizes a situation, a relationship, or even a friendship is draining them? When they sense control tightening around them, when they feel someone trying to own their time, their energy, their soul? They don't fight endlessly. They don't argue to prove a point. They do something much more powerful. They walk away. Quietly. Completely. Without second chances. Because walking away is their ultimate form of self-preservation. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. Scorpio knows that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every connection deserves their energy. So they choose disengagement. And in doing that, they protect their peace. You might have experienced this. Maybe a Scorpio friend disappeared from your life after something felt wrong between you. No explanation. Just distance. That's not cruelty. That's their subconscious protecting their heart. They refuse to stay where their freedom is compromised. They refuse to beg for understanding. They save themselves. And this is where Scorpio's quiet strength shines the most. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you stayed in a situation that drained you, just because you were too afraid to leave? Scorpios don't make that mistake. Maybe there's something we can all learn from that. Sometimes, the most powerful statement isn't a word. It's a closed door. And that's why Scorpios remain free. But the most fascinating, and maybe the most controversial insights about Scorpio, are still waiting. Because the final 3 truths will reveal the deepest secrets about their mind, their heart, and their soul. Stay with me. You won't want to miss what comes next. If you've ever watched a Scorpio chase something they're passionate about, you'll know exactly what unstoppable looks like. For them, passion isn't just a hobby. It's fuel. It's the inner fire that guides every decision. Scorpios aren't easily swayed by opinions or trends. Why? Because they're listening to something louder. Their own heart. Their own vision. Their own truth. When a Scorpio finds a path that feels right, nothing can pull them away from it. Not judgment. Not rejection. Not failure. They keep moving forward. Step by step. No matter how long it takes. This inner drive can seem intense to outsiders. Maybe even intimidating. But for Scorpios, it's simply how life works. Following their own path isn't rebellion. It's survival. It's the only way they feel alive. And what's even more powerful is how they defend that path. Most people avoid conflict. It's uncomfortable. It's draining. But Scorpio knows something many people forget. Sometimes, standing your ground is the only way to protect your soul. Scorpios are not afraid to face confrontation. Not because they enjoy fighting, but because they understand that certain battles are necessary. If someone tries to control them, push them, limit them, Scorpio doesn't run. They look you in the eye and say no. Calmly. Clearly. Without raising their voice. Without emotional chaos. It's a quiet, firm line in the sand. And most people realize, you don't push a Scorpio past that line. This willingness to defend themselves, not through aggression, but through unshakable clarity, is what makes them so difficult to dominate. It's not about controlling others. It's about refusing to be controlled themselves. But here's something that people often overlook. Scorpios don't act impulsively. Underneath that intense, passionate energy, is a mind that's always thinking several steps ahead. Life, for Scorpio, is like a game of chess. They're constantly analyzing, planning, and preparing. Before making a move, they've already considered what happens next. And what could happen after that. This is why catching a Scorpio off guard is nearly impossible. While others react emotionally, Scorpio steps back. Watches. Calculates. Decides. It's not manipulation. It's protection. They're strategic not to control others, but to protect themselves. To stay in control of their own choices. In relationships, in careers, in life itself, this mindset helps them avoid traps, toxic people, and unnecessary risks. And it's why people who try to control Scorpios often feel frustrated. Because by the time you make your move, Scorpio has already predicted it. But perhaps one of Scorpio's greatest defenses is their silence when it comes to vulnerability. Scorpios guard their emotions like precious treasures. Not because they don't feel, but because they feel too deeply. Showing vulnerability, for them, isn't liberating. It's dangerous. It opens doors to manipulation, to betrayal. And they've likely experienced that pain before. So, they learn to hold their emotions close, to process pain in private, to heal behind closed doors. On the outside, they may appear calm, even cold. But inside, they're navigating storms you'll never see. This isn't emotional suppression. It's emotional self-protection. By limiting what others see, Scorpios control how much power people have over them. You can't exploit what you don't understand. You can't wound what you can't reach. And so, Scorpio stays guarded. But here's something important to remember. This isn't about building walls forever. It's about choosing the right people. The ones who respect their silence and earn their trust. When Scorpio opens up, it's not by accident. It's by choice. A choice that says, I trust you enough to let you see me. And that moment is the greatest gift a Scorpio can give. Maybe there's a lesson here for all of us. Sometimes, guarding your heart isn't about fear. It's about wisdom. It's about knowing that not everyone deserves access to your soul. But this isn't the end of our journey. Because in the final part of this video, we'll explore the last 3 insights. And I promise you, they're the most revealing, the most controversial, and perhaps the most transformative. Stay with me. The truth about Scorpio's soul is just beginning to unfold. Every Scorpio carries a secret advantage that many people overlook. It's their ability to learn. Quickly. Deeply. Quietly. Life's lessons don't just pass by them. Every mistake. Every betrayal. Every heartbreak. They absorb it like fuel. Scorpios don't repeat failures over and over. They analyze what went wrong, even if it hurts. And they remember. Not as bitterness, but as wisdom. Imagine touching fire once. You don't need to touch it again. Scorpio lives like that. Each painful experience shapes how they move forward. This isn't fear. It's growth. Psychologists might call it emotional learning. Scorpios just call it survival. They trust their reflections. They study people, situations, even their own reactions. And over time, they build a mental map of what protects their freedom and what threatens it. This makes them one of the most adaptive signs in the zodiac. Strong, but never stuck. Always learning. Always evolving. But here's where things get even more interesting. Scorpios are drawn to truth. Not just facts, but emotional, human, soul-level truth. They hate small talk. They avoid shallow relationships. They sense when someone's pretending. And they pull away from it. For Scorpio, life is too short for lies. They crave authenticity, conversations that matter, connections that touch something deeper. That's why superficial manipulation rarely works on them. If your words don't feel real, they won't listen. If your actions don't match your energy, they'll step back. This hunger for truth acts as their compass. It steers them away from false promises, fake friendships, and hollow goals. It's not that they're negative. They're just honest. With themselves and with others. And this honesty protects their freedom more than any wall could. But one of Scorpio's greatest shields isn't something they do. It's something they are. It's their aura. Their presence. The moment a Scorpio walks into a room, you feel it. It's subtle. Not loud. Not flashy. But magnetic. People instinctively sense strength. They sense mystery. And it creates distance. Not rejection. Just respect. Without saying a word, Scorpio commands space. It's not about intimidation. It's quiet power. Confidence that doesn't need to prove itself. And because of that, people hesitate to push them. To control them. To manipulate them. Scorpio's aura is like an invisible boundary. One that says, I'm not someone you can own. This natural energy protects them. It gives them breathing room. And in that space, Scorpio remains free. What's even more fascinating is how all these pieces connect. Their constant learning. Their craving for authenticity. Their magnetic energy. It's not random. It's all part of their inner system. A subconscious strategy to protect their soul. To choose real connections. To avoid traps of control. And to live life on their terms. Scorpios don't build cages for others. But they'll never let anyone build a cage for them. And maybe, as you listen to this, you recognize some of these patterns in yourself. Maybe you've learned to walk away from people who drain you. Maybe you've started trusting your gut when something feels wrong. Maybe you've stopped explaining your boundaries to those who refuse to respect them. If so, then you're already living a little like a Scorpio. But the journey isn't over yet. Because what comes next will reveal the most intimate, the most controversial, and perhaps the most powerful truths about Scorpio's soul. In the final part of this video, you'll discover why their silence is their shield, why their deepest power lies in what they don't say, and how their mysterious nature might just hold the key to emotional freedom itself. Stay with me. The final answers are waiting. There's something about Scorpio that most people feel, but few can explain. It's not just their words, their actions, or even their strength. It's their silence. Their mystery. The way they seem to hold part of themselves back, no matter how close you get. What most people don't realize is that this mystery is not a game. It's not something they create to confuse or control others. It's their most powerful protection. You see, when people don't know what you're thinking, when they can't predict how you'll react, they can't control you. They can't plan around your weaknesses. Because they can't see them. Scorpios master this without even realizing. Their mystery keeps them safe. It keeps people guessing. And that silence creates space for them to breathe, to choose, to stay in control of their own story. But here's the part no one tells you. That mystery doesn't mean they're cold. It doesn't mean they're detached. In fact, it's the opposite. Scorpios feel so deeply that they need to protect their emotions. Their mystery isn't a wall. It's a filter. A way to decide who truly deserves access to their heart. Because once you're in, you're in. But until then, the mystery protects them. And sometimes, that's exactly what you need to stay free. And maybe, the most personal, the most human part of Scorpio's strength is something even simpler. They stay true to themselves. No matter how much pressure they face. No matter how many people try to sway them, change them, or lead them down a different path. Scorpio holds their ground. And that's not stubbornness. It's loyalty. Loyalty to their own soul, their own vision, their own truth. Even when it's hard. Even when they're alone. That silent commitment to authenticity is what makes them unbreakable. People often misunderstand this. They think Scorpio fights to prove a point. But in reality, Scorpio fights to protect their own peace, their life, their freedom, their right to choose what matters to them. And that, perhaps, is Scorpio's greatest power. Not controlling others, but never allowing others to control them. And now, as we reach the end of this journey, I want you to pause for a moment. Think about everything you've learned. Scorpio's independence, their inner strength, their intuition, their loyalty, their mystery, their silence, their unwavering truth. All of it leads back to one simple lesson. Real power isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about mastering the world within you. Scorpios remind us that freedom starts from the inside. So maybe, after today, you'll look at Scorpios differently. Or maybe, you'll look at yourself differently. And if something in this video spoke to you, if you felt even a little of yourself reflected here, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Because there's so much more to explore. Stories of the soul, lessons of the stars, and the truths about human nature that no one else tells you. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who feels lost, or controlled, or disconnected from who they really are, share this video with them. You never know whose life a small message can change. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take this wisdom. Let it sit in your heart. And when you're ready, join me in the next video, where even deeper journeys are waiting for you.